Hello and welcome to the Sands of Time review channel. This is your host Sammy Thunder here today. Today I'm here to do a little bit of a owner's review of an acquisition I made for a wristwatch, the SBBN025, the Seiko Marine Master Darth Tuna as it's nicknamed, and I acquired this watch around 2 months ago and I didn't have the time to do an initial impressions, but I wanted to provide an owner's review of this watch. So here we are, and hopefully from today onwards I'll be uploading a bit more videos about my new acquisitions, a state of the collection, and some more Watch Express videos on new releases, just to analyze and go through them. So here we are with this beautiful watch here, the SBBN025. It is a stunning watch in the flesh. It is a Marine Master watch, and actually this is a discontinued model, but you can still get these on the pre-owned market. If you search, there's always someone around that will have this watch on eBay or some kind of forum. Should be able to find one from Japan or something of the like. So here we are with the SBBN025. It is a saturation diver with 1,000 meters of water resistance, which is pretty overkill for what I use this watch for. The best I've done with this watch, or any diver I have in my collection, is really just surface swimming at a pool or at the beach. I've never done diving in my life, but I have a fascination for dive watches or dive style watches. So without further ado, I just wanted to address that this watch here has a very strong history. It plays a very strong role in Seiko's history, and you know, it's classed as a Marine Master. This is one of Seiko's most robust dive watches that you can get, and it was actually created. It was developed in response to a letter that was received from a saturation diver, probably back in 1968, and pretty much his complaint was that this watch here was not this watch here, but the previous Seiko divers were not as robust to impact, and they couldn't really support or actually withstand exposure to the deep underwater pressure. So thus we had the creation of this watch 7 years after 1968. And essentially, one of the challenges for diving is that when you go deep sea diving, when you do saturation diving, a usual dive watch will have a helium release valve or an escape valve. So one of the things when you go deeper and deeper into the ocean is, you get some helium that gets trapped into the gaskets, or the rubber seals, and essentially, when the diver goes through a decompression phase, as he goes back up to the surface slowly, what happens is helium is actually released through a special thing called a helium release valve. Essentially, this prevents, what it means for the watch is it prevents the watch crystal from cracking or exploding, pretty much. Seiko took a different route. They're like, let's create a watch without a helium release valve. How do we do this? So 7 years after 1968, in response to this diver's request, Seiko created this watch here, the Seiko Tuna. Essentially, it's not this watch here exactly, but this is a variant of it, one of the closest variants of it. But the first one was a tuna watch with a high beat movement, and it featured a monocoque design, just like this modern recreation here. Monocoque design means it is a single piece case construction. All the watch components are loaded from the front. The watch itself is made from titanium. So the case itself is titanium, and then it features a shroud, a ceramic shroud or a titanium ceramic compound or alloy that is there for scratch resistance, I guess. It protects the actual case from impacts. The watch also features a special L-shaped gasket, which is probably another solution for this helium release, for the compromise of not having a helium release valve. So this watch here, without a helium release valve, supports up to 1,000 meters of water resistance, which is pretty cool. It surpassed all the ISO tests, the standard for the testing from back in the day, and it's an icon from Seiko. It features the Marine Master label. It's featured in James Bond movies. It is a robust and rugged watch. Now we come back here to the modern day. It features a quartz movement. It features a 7C46 quartz movement. Movement inside has a battery life indicated for at least 5 years, actually. And what we have here is that it's actually marked on the case. It's marked on the case here in the scale, which pretty much indicates at what quarter of the year do you need to change the battery. So mine's actually supposed to be done pretty much now. So Q4 of 2023. But I'm not going to be doing that because these movements actually, they underquote the battery life. People get around 7 years of battery life. So it has a much longer battery life. And the watch isn't telling me to change the battery life. So this also has a battery life, a low voltage indicator, which pretty much means that this seconds hand will tick once every 2 seconds, I believe. So it's not telling me, so why should I? But under warranty, I might actually get that free battery change if I can. 7C, 7 joules. It's a high torque movement, and it's high torque. It supports using heavy hand components. It's a very efficient movement, so you get around 5 to 7 years of battery life, which is, pretty damn good. It is not, in fact, a thermally compensated movement. It is not a high accuracy quartz movement. It is reported accuracy of 15 plus minus 15 seconds a month. Across 2 months, I've actually gained 7 seconds. So 3.5 seconds a month. I've owned this for 3 months, but I think, I've owned this for quite a while. So it's gained around 7 seconds across 2.5 months, let's say, which is pretty fair for this kind of watch. So it is a pretty nice watch, in fact. So what I'll do is I just want to get through some of the specifications for this watch, and I'll just get my calipers. This watch is quite a large watch, but as you can see, just from the case itself, this is a lugless design. There are no lugs. So this is the highest end of this is the high-end Marine Master Tuna. Features a lugless design. So the lower end you go, you might start seeing some lugs, but they're so tiny, the lugs are pretty much non-existent anyway. So in terms of the actual case dimension, we actually have here a diameter of 48.6 mils, which is pretty nice. The actual crystal, or the crystal itself, is around 29.3 to 30 mils. So the actual crystal itself, there's no point measuring lug to lug because the diameter pretty much gives you that. So 48.6 lug to lug, that's actually fairly good. Because this is a full circular watch without any lugs at a 48 mil diameter, it is going to wear large on the wrist, but it will wear snug on the wrist, fine on the wrist, because lugless design. And I'll give a wrist shot later. The watch features a kind of like a matte black dial, but in certain lights it does appear to be glossy, but it is indeed a kind of like a matte finish on the dial. With inside there, you see a little bit of a raised, within the dial itself, there's a raised, the disc for the dial is slightly raised when it comes to the track for the hour markers, and you have all your indices or hour markers there, and I believe this actually looks like hand applied luminescence. The reason I say this is because I've dealt with higher end Seiko divers, and you can kind of tell that the lume has been applied by hand because of the unevenness of it. So I can tell just by some of these hour markers that's the case, but from afar it's not noticeable, and I've started to appreciate that. Before I couldn't appreciate it because the watch I had previously, which was a 62 MAS recreation or reissue, I could just notice it all the time, but now I've started to be more open. Like, I actually appreciate it. As they say, the wabi sabi. So the bezel is a nice 120 click bezel. It is definitely tougher to move compared to most diver bezels. It is very tough, I'd say. The toughest in my collection. The actual inlay or the bezel insert, look, in my opinion, I think this is a rubber insert, a transparent rubber insert. Actually, this is not like a frosted glass. This is nothing like that. It is a, in fact, I think they even use this on a $300 Seiko tuna that I used to own, the baby tuna. It is like a rubber kind of feel to it. When I get my nail and scratch it, it's like some kind of frosted, transparent. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what it feels like. No one's actually confirmed this. As I stated to you, black dial, the best lume in the business. Seiko Lumi Bright, this is unbeaten, especially on a tuna. I'll try and do a lume shot if I can. It's a ceramic shroud, and this example of watch I have here is actually was purchased in 2020, but it's a 2019 dated watch, and battery is fine, and it's a pre-owned watch. I purchased this pre-owned, and the original owner has kept the watch in pretty good nick. There are some instances where you can see a fine hairline on the ceramic shroud, so I'm not sure if it's visible here, but you can see a fine hairline or two there. Doesn't really bother me. This is the crown. It is a signed Prospex crown. It's very nice to use as well. And here is the Seiko caseback, and the good thing about it is all symmetrical, all straight lined up. Have the nice Sagaiha wave on there. So HE gas divers 1,000 meters, beautiful. Now you probably notice that this strap on the watch is not actually the strap which comes with it. So let's just go into some of the negative aspects of this watch or ownership of the watch. Why did I change this strap? So obviously this is a pre-owned watch. This old strap was used, but it was perfectly sufficient and fine. I'll put this here, and essentially I'll just bring out the old strap. The old strap is very nice. It's very supple as well. But with my own ownership experience of the strap is, the more I wore it, like this here is like a vented strap here, and this thing, if you wear this for a few hours, I mean, you start to sweat quite a bit, and this puts a nasty mark. Well, not mark. It puts a nice imprint on your skin, and it really grips. It's something that you would wear on top of a diver's suit, in my opinion. Look, this is perfectly sufficient, but for the ultimate comfort, I believe this was not it. So what I actually did was I purchased this Seiko tuna. I purchased a Seiko Safari. It's nicknamed the Safani. It's just a Arnie, but it actually featured this strap here. It was like a desert style Arnie model, and it featured the same kind of lug width. And I realized, okay, this is something I can use. Now, obviously, the hardware on that particular strap is actually gunmetal, not black. So I am using the stock hardware for this watch because it is titanium. So the buckle and keeper on the stock strap is titanium. I could have also purchased the stock strap again, but I've got experience with this kind of strap on Seiko divers. Very supple, very soft, grip and hug well, and it doesn't provide any kind of imprint on the skin. It's just soft and supple, and I recommend anyone with these kind of watches to just buy one of these, honestly. And there's a green version of the Safani, which is very nice as well. So I plan on also purchasing that strap, and I purchased this for 60 Australian dollars straight from Seiko. So the first thing I did for this watch is after 1 month of ownership, I changed the strap. What's the next bad thing about this watch? For a quartz movement, for a very robust, this is a very robust quartz movement. One thing that it doesn't really bother me because I don't really see date changes, but this has a very slow date change across 1 or 2 hours. It's not a big deal, but I think for this kind of watch, they could have done with an instantaneous date change. So that's the other con of this watch. But apart from that, I mean, this is nice. I mean, after 4 or 3 years of ownership, I mean, that's the only wear I've seen. And this is a PVD case, by the way. PVD titanium. And look, the places where I might have seen PVD wear off is like 1 or 2 dots here. That's it. That is it. It's pretty much mint. The guy who wore it, I know he wore it quite well. And then across the case, you just have one tiny scratch there. It's not even a hairline, I would say. So it's kept very well. The dial itself is very clean. I haven't spotted a single dust particle there under the loop, so it's quite nice. The buckle is quite nice as well. It's stock Seiko stuff, but it's titanium nonetheless, so it's nice that you also have titanium hardware. It's not just they didn't cheap out and just start using PVD stainless steel, and it's actually written here on the buckle itself, Seiko titanium, which is nice. This is a 22mm lug width, by the way, as you can tell by the strap designation there. So look, watch itself is robust. It's nice. One thing I like about this watch is the actual kanji date wheel. It's beautiful. It is. I just love seeing kanji date wheel. It's proper, like a JDM Seiko that I have, SBBN025. So I'm very happy that I have this. If I can try and show a loom shot. It's going to be difficult here, but nonetheless, you know, I'm going to try. The good thing about showing loom shot on a watch which features excellent loom is that you know, it'll just shine brightly, you know, just like that. And that is loom. And by the way, this is a well lit room still. This is a very well lit room. I've just turned off the studio lighting. I'll turn this lighting back on. And here we go. And the loom is just excellent. So that's loomed. This is loomed. Funny thing is, the actual baby Tuna that I used to own, which was pretty much an homage to the original with the gilt inlays, the gilt bezel, the gilt dial. It actually had from 0 to 15 loom as well on the bezel. This one doesn't have that, which is fine. I'm not a stickler for that. It's perfectly fine. You have a perfectly readable watch with a nice minute track. I like it that it has the Marine Master. This is in particular why I purchased this watch, because it had Marine Master text. I wanted that because you don't see that anymore. I mean, you do now with their latest Seiko recreation, but not on these tuners. So, crown operation, look, it's good. It's very nice, robust. You know, there's no, very easy to unscrew. Very easy to change the date and time. Solid feedback, signed crown, everything's nice. Easy to grip, hard to turn, purpose built. You really can't, look, for people like me who don't dive at all, this is like a con because people like to play with the bezel, and it's pretty difficult to do so with this one. You have to put a little bit of muscle there, but nonetheless, everything lines up. It's all good, sounds good, and I like these kind of watches, right? The next best comparison I have for this watch is this mechanical equivalent, which is the Doxa Sub 300T with the yellow dial, diving star. Very nice, very easy to use the dial. Just such a beautiful watch. 1,300 meters of water resistance. Features a helium escape valve. And I actually opted, when I bought this watch, I actually opted for the choice of having the helium release valve. There were, because the new Doxa diving stars, or Doxa Sub 300T, they don't actually have this. So I asked him, mate, can you please get me one with the helium release valve? Because I wanted it. I wanted to see that. So yeah, that's the Doxa, a watch with a helium release valve, but doesn't really need one. And this is one without. This is a legendary Seiko diver, a beautiful Seiko diver, nicknamed the Darth Tuna with the PVD black. Just before I part, I am going to wear this watch, just to give you guys a little bit of a wrist shot. Wears very snug on the wrist. And there it is on a, let's say, that is a 7.1 inch wrist. Absolutely marvelous watch. Beautiful, looks great. I like the screw additions there that keep the shroud in place. Robust, great heritage and history. Not a copycat. No one can tell you that this watch is a copycat. It's a very nice design. The Tuna style, Tuna aesthetic. It is a testosterone beast of a watch. That's how I describe it. This is Seiko Marine Master Tuna SBBN025, and this is the Signs of Time, signing out. Thanks.